Long before modern mountaineering gear and insulated tents, those who ventured into the winter wilderness of North America's frontier carried with them knowledge that separated the living from the frozen dead. In the decades leading up to the First World War, trappers, prospectors, and indigenous peoples across the Rocky Mountains and Northern Territories perfected a shelter system so efficient that it could sustain human life through months of sub-zero conditions using nothing but snow, timber, and understanding. This wasn't mere camping. This was the art of becoming part of the winter landscape itself, of reading the terrain like a manuscript written in ice, and understanding that survival meant working with the cold rather than against it. The trappers who disappeared into the wilderness each November understood something that modern science would later confirm. Snow is not the enemy of warmth, but its unlikely guardian. When temperatures plummeted to 40 below and winds screamed across exposed ridgelines, experienced frontiersmen sought out deep snowdrifts on the leeward side of hills and began excavating. The process was methodical and deliberate. Using snowshoes as shovels and their bodies as measuring tools, they carved tunnels that sloped upward into sleeping chambers, creating spaces where the snow itself became walls thick enough to deaden the howling wind to silence. Inside these crystalline fortresses, temperatures stabilized near freezing, a difference of 70 degrees from the killing cold outside. The entrance tunnel, positioned below the sleeping platform, created a cold trap where dense, frigid air settled, while body heat rose into the living space above. No fire was needed or wanted in pure snow shelters, as flame would compromise structural integrity and fill the chamber with dangerous moisture. Where snowpack proved insufficient, or the stay extended beyond weeks, wilderness dwellers constructed hybrid shelters that married the insulating properties of snow with the structural permanence of timber. These weren't the romantic log cabins of popular imagination, but low-slung, earth-hugging structures designed to present minimal profile to winter storms. Framework came from deadfall spruce and pine, lashed together with rawhide or inner bark stripped from trees. The roof, critical to survival, was layered methodically. First a lattice of poles, then a thick mattress of pine boughs laid shingle-style to shed moisture, then packed snow forming an insulating blanket sometimes 3 feet deep. The interior walls received similar treatment, with boughs creating an air gap between occupant and outer wall, reducing condensation and preventing the slow sap of body heat into frozen logs. Small fires could be maintained in these shelters, with the thermal mass of surrounding materials absorbing and slowly releasing warmth through the endless winter nights. The trappers learned to build their fires against flat rocks, carried inside specifically for this purpose stones that would radiate heat long after flames died to embers. Strategic placement and the winter landscape. Location determined survival as much as construction technique. The experienced winterer read terrain with eyes trained by necessity, seeking concave features where snow accumulated deeply, but wind patterns remained predictable. Frozen rivers and streams, despite their ice, offered crucial advantages: access to water through ice holes, natural highways for snowshoe travel, and often the straightest timber growing along their banks. Shelters were positioned just back from watercourses in dense timber, where evergreen canopy reduced snow accumulation on the roof while providing windbreak and ready access to continuous fuel. The entrance always faced away from prevailing winds, often oriented southeast to catch whatever weak winter sun penetrated the forest canopy. Every decision reflected accumulated wisdom. Too exposed meant death by wind. Too sheltered in a valley bottom meant suffocation in cold air drainage. Too far from water meant exhausting daily labor. Legacy carved in ice. These techniques, refined over generations, represent more than historical curiosity. They embody a fundamental truth about human adaptation and the creative problem-solving born from genuine need. In an age when we often mistake gear for knowledge, the snow shelter builders remind us that understanding natural systems, reading landscapes, and working with available materials remains the cornerstone of true self-reliance. Their legacy whispers through every modern survival manual, every bushcraft course, every winter camping trip where someone digs into a drift and discovers warmth in the heart of cold. If this journey into forgotten fieldcraft ignited something in you, subscribe to Fieldcraft Chronicles and share this knowledge with others who understand that history's harshest classrooms taught humanity's most valuable lessons. The wilderness is still teaching. We need only listen. Fieldcraft Chronicles